Hello and welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we're talking with Craig Alsup from Texas, Fort Worth, actually. And Craig's got a neat business. He has a office that does marriage counseling and family counseling, but they're shifting to doing a lot of virtual telephone and Zoom type of counseling. And we talked a lot about the transition of this model, and I shared a lot of the experiences that I had in writing a book with a marriage counselor called Stop Your Divorce, which we've had online since 1998 at stopyourdivorce.com. And Craig's business model is something that was what we were working on back then in 1998, and now it's become very possible for people to have a meaningful conversation in a virtual way. And as we're all kind of getting used to gathering this way now, I think it might be that it turns out to be more preferable for people. So we had some great conversations about the model and how to expand the model, or to think about expanding the model by narrowing the focus. So here we go. Craig Alsup.
Hey, Dean. How are you, man?
How are you?
I'm doing well.
So Fort Worth, Texas, is that where you're calling in from?
Yes, sir.
Look at you. So are you staying in space, or in what do we call it?
Yeah, the social distancing, or staying at home or something.
Right, exactly.
All of the above.
Okay. Well, there's, it's good news that we can always meet in the cloud here, just like this.
That's right. That's
with
right.
no restrictions.
I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings.
Yes, as the world. So that's exciting. That's a good thing. I think that we're, I've been saying to people that this is going to mark the big migration, where now everybody is going to be comfortable with Zoom, because all the kids have to be there for school. So many households are Zoom equipped now. And I can't wait. So I was excited to see, I know just a little bit about what you've got going on, but I'd love to hear the story and what you're up to.
Sure. So we're in Fort Worth, Texas, and a couple of years ago, my wife and I decided to launch a private practice, counseling practice, primarily working with married couples and teenagers. And man, it really has taken off over the last couple of years. We started off with one therapist that was hired on with us, and now we're up to 4. And actually, at the time that I messaged you, we were at 3, and then we brought on another one, and so we're at 4 now. And but tons of room to grow in what we have. Tons of room in the space we have, I think. And then just lots of need around here for people to get marriage counseling and things like that. I know you've done some stuff with divorce before, or helping people to stay away from divorce before. So,
well, I'll tell you, that is exactly right. So in 1998, I was eating breakfast. It's before the internet was really like the main thing that you do in the mornings, So I'm in a restaurant, I'm eating breakfast and looking through USA Today, which was my routine then. I would look through the USA Today newspaper, and I come through the classifieds, and I see a gentleman offering counseling for divorce. And then I saw in the business opportunities section, he was running an ad that he was looking to, set people up in his business kind of thing, looking for people who wanted to do divorce counseling. And it was just like serendipity that it was the very first day that he had run the ad. And,
wow.
I called him just because I'm, a marketer, right? I knew some things that he could do that would help him out, and
Yeah.
I met Homer McDonald, who was in San Antonio, Texas. And when I met him, he was 76 years old and had just shut down his traditional practice. Like he had a office and stuff where he had been doing marriage counseling for 45 years at the time. And
wow.
So now in retirement, he was doing telephone counseling, and he was running ads in USA Today, spending $2,500 a month in ads to bring in $6,000 or $7,000 a month in counseling over the phone.
Yeah.
And so I got, talking with him and helping him with his marketing. I introduced him to free recorded messages and helped him with the package, the letter that he would send people, when they responded. And so his business started going up. But at the time, I asked him if he'd had any books or CDs or anything like that, right? And CDs, that's dating it right there, right? If he had any audio,
right?
And he didn't. And his two things. His fear was if he had a book, then people wouldn't need him, kind of thing. They wouldn't hire him for the counseling, and that if a publisher would kind of give him an advance so he could take some time off and write the book, maybe he would. And then I just struck up a kind of friendship with him and was helping him as I could. And then I said to him one day, Homer, while we're waiting on that publisher, why don't we just go ahead and get started with the book? And I interviewed him over the phone for about 13 hours over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And he was really good, like very articulate, right? And I was, able to give him, we would discover what he knew, kind of thing, and I would help shape what a chapter would be. And, we would talk about like why, what are the things that people do that don't work? I would ask him that, and he'd go away and he'd come back. He said, okay, there's 8 things that people try that never work. And then he would come on and we would record a session, and he would just talk about all 8 of those things. And we got that all transcribed and turned it into the book. And I said, Homer, I think that what's going to happen is just the opposite of what you think is going to happen. That the more people are going to read the book, the more they're going to want to have counseling with you. And so we did a handshake deal where I would drive and spend the money for the advertising for the book. I would get all the money from the book, and he would get all the money from the counseling. And so we had that relationship for, almost 20 years. He died maybe 5 or 6 years ago now. But he made it to 91 or 2, and just he had such an amazing practice where he got to the point where he was doing $30,000 or $40,000 a month in counseling off the back of the book, and we sold millions of dollars of the book over that period of time too. So it was a really great. It was a perfect collaborative relationship, and he saved a lot of marriages, and that was great. But so that was kind of the beginning of telephone counseling was kind of a odd thing back then.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was before its time.
Yeah, and he was. I mean, it was premium prices too. But it was a great thing. So that's my sort of story about that experience. And so it might be as I was reading about what you were up to, that's of course what came to my mind.
Sure.
But tell me about what you, how your model works.
So yeah, we are a group practice, which basically means that there's more than one therapist kind of working under the same roof. Currently, we have 2 counseling offices that our therapists are basically, we have a EHR, electronic health record system, where we have a calendar online that we book clients into. My wife does most of the scheduling when calls come in. She's the one answering the phone typically. And then we schedule for these 4 therapists within our offices, and they kind of, share the space. Right now they're doing a lot of telehealth stuff, but really it's been a model that
they come to your location.
Yeah. So often, before all of this virus craziness, all of our people came to our location. And so those 2 offices were being split up between these 4 therapists. We have one of our therapists is only seeing about 6 people a week. But then the other 3 are trying to see, 15 or 15 plus. And so that was kind of the method. Now we've kind of gone to telehealth a little bit as well. And so we've got a lot of people that are just doing either through the phone or by video. And so that's growing. But yeah, so that's kind of the model for therapists working in these 2 offices, also doing some telehealth now. The idea behind it is that my wife and I are kind of behind the scenes doing marketing stuff, keeping the website going, finding the clients basically, and then pushing those out to these 4 therapists who are actually seeing the clients and continuing on that side of the business.
Okay, great. And so what is the typical engagement for you guys? Like how's it, somebody coming one time, or are they coming so many times a month? Are they staying for ongoing, or how's your relationship work with patients or clients or whatever?
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to talk with you about. Was client retention. Right now, actually, I thought it was a little higher than it was, but I did a little bit more digging yesterday to prepare for the call, and realized that we're sitting about 4 to 5 sessions per person on average over the last 15 months is what I looked at. And we'd like to see that move up. Generally speaking, for marriage counseling, we expect that people would probably need, depending on their needs, because everybody's different, but we would typically see, 8 to 10 sessions as being sort of a good number for them to get the best outcomes. And so we're sitting at about 4 to 5 right now.
How many did you say you feel they need?
8 to 10, probably.
8 to 10.
And we start people out coming weekly, but then over time, maybe after the first month, maybe they're able to come, every couple of weeks. So that extends our time frame out with them a little bit. But really our goal as a practice is to be solution focused, to be as, efficient and effective as possible. It's not really built up around keeping people in there for a long time. And, and we try to point that out on our website and a couple other places, that we're the practice that doesn't want to keep you around forever, keep you, coming to counseling forever. We want you to do better and move on with your life and be able to use the skills that you learned in session, over the long run.
And who is your counseling style, or what school are you from, kind of thing? What school of counseling?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of it is built around cognitive behavioral stuff. We've got a little bit. There's a method to marriage counseling called the Gottman, Gottman method. And so a couple of our people have some training in that. And then, just kind of solution-focused, brief, type counseling with, kind of a cognitive behavioral and Gottman methodology.
Yeah. So results based.
Yeah. I mean, really our goal, we're private pay only. I should mention that. A lot of, therapy practices take insurance and things like that. Because we primarily see married couples, it brings in a lot of issues with us as far as insurance, ethically, because of the need with insurance. You typically would need to diagnose one of the people of the couple with some sort of mental health diagnosis, and that's really not our goal.
How much do you charge for the sessions, or do you sell it as a package, or?
We've not done the package deal. We have two therapists that are licensed professional counselor interns, are licensed marriage and family therapist associates that basically haven't completed their hours yet to be fully licensed. And but they see clients for $100 a session. And then we have two therapists that are fully licensed that see clients at $130 per session, which is pretty equivalent to the area around us here in Fort Worth, I think. There's some that are higher than us. There's some that are lower, but I think we're probably in the middle somewhere. Okay.
And when you're presenting it to someone, is it session by session? They're just saying, come in for one session, or are you saying, or do you have it as a 90-day program or a 12-week marriage?
I don't think we've pitched it as kind of a 8 or 12-week program thus far. That's actually something I've thought of, but just haven't figured out how to implement.
So how typically do you present it to people? So you say we charge $100 per session if you want to work with an intern, or $130 if you want someone fully licensed, or how do you present the difference?
So I guess the way we typically present it is we say, our therapists work on different days of the week. If there's a specific time and day that works best for you, that will help to narrow it down as far as maybe who you would want to work with. We also encourage people to take a look at our website where you can see the therapist biographies, just a little bit of info about them. And sometimes people pick from that based on the age or the, race or whatever, different factors. And then some people are just kind of, okay, I'm totally open. Who do you think would be best? And then through kind of asking them a series of questions like, okay, what's going on? How old are you guys? How long have you been married? Those types of questions, we kind of narrow it down and say, okay, this might be the person for you. And we try to keep it fairly balanced across therapists too. So one person isn't just stacking up while the others, don't have anybody. And sometimes that's difficult to do because we want to make sure that our clients get the best for them. So we haven't pushed out like a package or this is a 12-week cycle. Instead, we're just saying, hey, this is how much it costs for a session. We can schedule you this week. And then we really leave it up to our therapist, towards the end of every session, we're asking them, hey, make sure that you're asking your client, hey, when can we get you back on the calendar? We've even encouraged them to say, hey, let's go ahead and schedule your next 2 or 3 sessions so that you've got your spot kind of locked in, your time frame.
Okay. And so far that's working to be for about 4 to 5 sessions. Is correct. What the average is. Okay. Yeah. So the thing would be to, test that as you test that against a 6-week program. Because if you were able to get people on a 6-week program, automatically you're one further than what you're getting right now with the week to week, right?
Right.
And I think that maybe puts people in a frame where, that's kind of there's an end to it. I think what people often don't want to dive into this like bottomless thing that they're coming every week to therapy now, or whatever.
Right.
It might be a thing to put a frame of reference around it, that it's going to be a 6-week or a 12-week program, 6-week or 8-week, or something like that kind of packages it. And I think that you'll find your average will go up.
Okay.
Which is kind of that I think would be a nice thing. Now, how do you find people? How does your before unit work?
So most of that is through either organic Google search or Google Ads. So it's kind of I would say 90% of our people come through either organic search or Google Ads.
Okay. And so walk me through the Google Ads.
Yeah, so right now we have about $600 a month going out in Google Ads for couples and teens, and those ads are before all of this telehealth, before we really started doing telehealth, we were running ads within about 10 or 12 miles of our location. So that's about a 20 to 30 minute drive here in Fort Worth. And so we were running ads to about 10 or 12 miles to our location. We had multiple different ads that were kind of comparing against one another within the Google Ads system, so that we find the best ads and things like that.
Yeah.
And so Google would sort of automatically run the best ads over time. Obviously looking at different keywords and stuff around us that people are searching for. Also have a long list of negative keywords so that people aren't finding us for, couples retreats or, different stuff at churches or what have you that has to do with that. Or different types of therapy like physical therapy and stuff like that. We don't want to be found for. We also don't want to be necessarily found for like when somebody searches for their insurance company, therapists that work with Aetna or whatever. So we've kind of narrowed some of that out. So I think our Google ads are pretty targeted. What I would like to find out, and actually probably this is a thing I just need to contact Google. I'd like to find out how to retarget the people that are, have clicked on our ads prior, and maybe they clicked on it, but then they got off of it and then they can't find their way back, or they clicked on it, weren't quite ready for counseling, but were looking for information. And how do we keep the conversation going with those people?
I got it. So you're not doing any retargeting?
No, not currently.
Right now. Okay. So not even a pixel on your landing page for retargeting. Okay. So, well, that's certainly an opportunity for sure. How do the numbers work out for your AdWords? You're spending $20 a day, basically, is your budget, right?
Yeah, right at that.
Okay.
We're seeing about probably from AdWords maybe 20 clients a month coming in, something like that.
And what does it cost you per click? What are you paying per click for the?
So sometimes it fluctuates. So sometimes it's under $1 a click. Right now, today it's running $3 a click so far, or $3.40 a click. But that, over time, I can try to look at this year so far, kind of what's our average. This year so far, $1.44 a click is the average.
Okay. And they're going to are you generating leads, or are you sending them to a landing page, or are you sending them to your website where they can, where they look at everything?
Yeah, so what I'm sending them to is depending on the service, whether it's marriage counseling or teen counseling, they are getting sent to a specific service page that talks about that service. And then, at the top, there's a place, obviously to click to call us. All of our clickable email addresses and phone numbers are spread throughout the site and different places on the pages. And then at the bottom of each of those pages, there's a place where if they want to just email us, they can click. It pulls up an email form, and they can shoot over a form to us. And also there's a place where they just click to call, because most of our people that are coming to our site are coming on mobile, which is probably the case for everybody. But yeah, so just that way on mobile, all they have to do is click our phone number and it calls us.
Okay. So you're getting about, I'm just doing the quick math here. So you're getting about 400 visitors a month to your site from AdWords. Okay. And how many are you getting organic?
Let's see. I wish I had those numbers right in front of me.
Well, do you have the total? I mean, the big number.
Yeah. So probably about an average of 5 clients a month that are coming from organic, that are actually scheduling. We're getting a few more calls than clients coming in, but really we've done well as far as those people that actually call us are typically scheduling. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, when you look at it, that's a pretty, like if you're getting 20 out of 400, so the 20 clients that you were saying are strictly from the pay-per-click, like you're tracking, that's where they've come from, as opposed to organic.
Right.
And the 5, 5 are coming organically. So 25.
That's an average,
Yeah. Okay. So when you look at it, that 20, you're spending about $30 is your cost of acquisition for a client, right? Who stays an average of $400 to $500 worth of sessions, right? Or $400 to $600 depending on which counselor they end up working with.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how does the money get split then from that? So the counselor, you're charging, the client is paying $100 or $130, and you're keeping you do a split with the counselor.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So on average, the therapists are getting about 55% on average, because we pay the interns a little bit less percentage-wise than we do the fully licensed. Right. But yeah, it comes out to about 55% of every dollar that comes in from their clients goes back out to them. Okay,
great. And so you're keeping, I'm just doing the math on this, and you're paying for the
space,
ad costs,
marketing,
You're paying all of that. Okay.
Right.
And that's okay. And is that profitable for you? That model? Like, it seems thin, right? If that's.
Yeah, it has been, and more so, as we're kind of ramping up. I think we're seeing like 20% profit or something like that come out of it. Overall. So.
Yeah. And is the $600 that you're spending, you're setting it at $20 a day to get to that 600? Is that out of that's what's available, or that's what you've capped your budget at? Could you spend $50 a day, or how much of what capacity of what's available are you getting?
Yeah, we could obviously kind of cut into like the profit that we're able to pull out. We could cut into that in order to grow the business a little bit further by increasing those ads.
I'm
probably.
not saying like the ads are the ads, right? And so that number, the thing about pay-per-click is that you're only paying for the results.
I got you.
You could argue that if you could spend $1,200 a month, that you would get twice as much traffic, and your numbers would stay the same, right? That's
right.
What
exactly.
That's what I'm.
Yeah. So I think temporarily, we could do that to scale that up if we could see that the numbers were actually going to work out that direction, or if there's some tipping.
Well, how stable is it in terms of those numbers working out? Like if you're getting 20...
Yeah, it's been stable over the last 6 months, probably, of about 20 new a month that way.
Okay. And are the 20
that's how we've been able to scale
to the same time? Like, are they they're coming in today, they're going on the website, they're looking, they're calling, they're booking, or is the 20 people who have came to the website 60 days ago and came back and did it, or are you?
That's something that I don't know exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure how to measure that.
Right.
Because that would be great to know, because if we knew that if we knew it was apples to apples going to increase revenue this month or next month, then we could spend double, because there's nothing extra out of our pocket that way. The concern is that maybe it doesn't turn over that fast, and then we spend $1,200 this month, but bring in just a few extra clients, but not enough to make up
that's
for the
why
difference.
I wonder. That's why I'm asking those questions about is it the single visit that they find you, they call, they book?
I'm going to write this question down.
How do you know then that, with what certainty do you have that the 20 are from AdWords?
Well, so we have on our intake paperwork that we send out to people when they schedule, we have on there where they can click a bullet point basically that shows, where they came in and where they found us. The only issue with that, though, is that most people don't know if it's a Google ad or if it's just
That's what I mean. They say Google, right?
Yeah. So they just say Google. But what we've attributed it to is a lot of ads, because we've looked at kind of our organic, rankings and organic numbers and stuff. And then we've looked at the conversions that are at least listed on Google. So when Google says, hey, this many people called from your ad, or this many people converted to go to your, So I know that's not an easy practice probably for Google to know who goes to our website and then who ends up clicking within our website to call us. We've tried to ask over the phone, so we know we've gotten a significant number of people say, we clicked on whatever was at the top of the Google page, and we're just, to some extent you go, well, if we were at the top of the Google page for that, it was probably our ad.
Gotcha. So have you ever tried to double your budget just to see?
No.
Like, this is what I wonder is, are you reaching your budget every day? Like, you're spending $20 every day?
Not every day, but they kind of average it across the month. So if some days we get 8 clicks or something, and then the next day they may give us 20 clicks.
Gotcha. So
but it kind of averages across the days.
Right. Yeah. That's what is, part of the thing is to see how much is actually available, how, what the actual capacity is.
Right.
Because right now, if you're spending if it's reaching the $600 every month consistently, that means that there's more than that available. And right, so that's where you want to see, because if it's a stable system and you've got the right numbers, that you should be able to get more visitors, because you're fishing in the same pond, meaning you're on Google with people who are searching the same search words.
Right.
It's just whether, when they reach $20 for today, then they don't show your ad, right? Because now you're done. You said, I only want to spend $20 a day. So you could be missing out that way. And that's a good, it's a thing to know, that you want to see how high is high with that. Now, as you branch out into more of the online counseling, there's of course, the opportunity to spread out geographically, because you're not going to be bringing people into your location. And that gives you an opportunity to, test in a whole different way, where you can test a market that there's no possibility of coming in live. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That was part of what I was going to say a minute ago. I forgot to say, but at first we were just running our ads to within, 10 or 12 miles of our location. But once we started doing the teletherapy thing, I actually added the extra location for anywhere in Texas. Which, obviously opens us up to millions of people instead of, thousands of people.
That's right. Now, have you had people from other parts of Texas that come that just do the telecounseling?
We've only had a few so far. I really kind of opened up that ad about a week ago.
Okay.
And we've had, a couple, probably two so far, actually.
Yeah. Okay. And is there anything on your site that people can opt in for? Are you gathering? Are you generating any leads from that?
We have kind of a make an appointment or submit your information page on our site. But it's not like it's not any kind of lead magnet. Saying
not a free.
This is something we're offering you. Right.
Yeah.
Right. No book or anything like that. And then on a couple of our pages, we've got, something that says ready to give therapy a try, call, email, or fill out the form. And then it's just name, address, phone number.
Yeah. Gotcha. So that would be one of the first things I would look at, is to see if you could do some opt-in on the page, so that you could not only get the people who are calling to set up an appointment, but to get the people who are looking into it, who want more information, kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
Part of the, part of the model of having a title, like our book, of course, was called Stop Your Divorce. And that was the, that's got a big promise on it. So we were gathering the people who that's what they wanted. And typically Homer worked with one person, typically the one person who doesn't want the divorce. It wasn't about, couples who realize they're, heading down the wrong path and they want to turn it around. This was individuals in crisis because their spouse told them that they want a divorce. and of course
Right.
they don't want it, so they're trying to stop it.
Right.
And yeah, so having that title, nobody's going to download or buy a book called "Stop Your Divorce" if they are not interested in stopping their divorce, right? So it was built into their interest. And so what would be a really interesting thing is for you to build a list of people who are interested in improving their marriage, or in what would be the if we separate out the marriage from the teens, of what would be the breakdown of the marriage versus teen counseling?
Yeah, I'd say right now we're probably about 80% marriage counseling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would be the how would you characterize what people are saying, or what they're looking for, that they're trying to do? Is it that they've got fundamentally they've got a good marriage and they want to make it great, or are they in crisis and they want to have somebody, hear them all out? Somebody's dragging one of them is dragging the other to marriage counseling, or what's the typical scenario?
Yeah, for most of them, it's kind of an SOS. It's kind of a last ditch effort to save the marriage. Most of our clients, I would say, are coming in both, dedicated to trying to make it work. There have been some where, the wife really wants to come to counseling, the husband's really reluctant, or vice versa. But I'd say primarily we're seeing mostly people who are, both at least interested in trying to make it work.
Yes. Gotcha. Yeah. And so would you say, is there anything, what I always look for, of course, is what would be the title of the book that would summarize the greatest hope of your audience?
There's something like Save Your Marriage.
Yeah. And there's that, is an amazing thing. It's very funny. I did, when I did Stop Your Divorce, I was really like alone in the market. And then, of course, as a marketer, then, I was sharing and teaching on the back of the success with Stop Your Divorce, the ebook business, right? Telling people how to write and publish an ebook. And I was using, Stop Your Divorce as a example for people, as an example of picking a good market. And out of that, some of the people who went through the thing ended up, becoming my competitors from that, right? Because we just saved the marriage and divorce stoppers, and we ended up with 3 or 4 different. It became a full mature category after all of that. It's funny.
Wow.
But the sentiment is the same, right? I mean, it's certainly that people want to save their marriage. And is there, when you look at it, some hints might be in the keywords that people are using. And are you able, with your AdWords tracking, to link it to specific keyword conversions?
Yes. So I'm able to click in and kind of see the different keywords that people were searching for.
Yeah.
And kind of what came.
What's the most popular, or the most successful?
Yeah. So as far as marriage, trying to get it all pulled up. But I think it's just something along the lines of marriage counseling near me or something like that. I mean, it's something fairly, standard. It's not help save my marriage or it's not something like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, that's great because
it's as if the person already kind of knows what they need,
Yeah, that's it. They're looking for a marriage counselor to go to. That would be why your conversions are relatively high to get. 20 out of 600 is probably
just like marriage therapy is the biggest, and then marriage counseling. But yeah,
marriage therapy, marriage counseling, and I think that it would be a really interesting thing for you to experiment on your landing page to have even a PDF that has your programs and prices, so that people could, because right now do you have your pricing and stuff on your website, or?
We have it on like a frequently asked questions page.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like on each services page or anything like that.
Right. So if you were to put front and center a PDF download with your 2020 programs and pricing guide, that would be a very popular download. We've experimented and done that with gyms and workout studios and stuff. And it's funny that the simple, plans and pricing membership guide outperforms like the 10 ways to burn fat or lose 10 pounds or any of the like action type of things. It's for the fact finders, people who are so the people who are looking for counseling specifically, if they had that PDF that they could download with their name and email address, that would be now you'd get the 20 people who call to get to come in for counseling, but you might get 60 additional people who download the programs and pricing guide.
Right.
Yeah. And now you've got
great.
then you've got a list of prospects, right? Where now you can, in Profit Activator 3, educate and motivate people, right? Where you can start giving some weekly marriage articles, tips, that type of thing. Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense. I was trying to make it way more complicated because I had thought, okay, how do I come up with a book or some sort of lead magnet? But I was thinking way out.
Well, I would still do that. I would do that too, but immediately, like on your site, since most people are typing for marriage therapy or marriage counseling, if when they came to your thing, they see the 2020 marriage therapy programs and pricing, that's that's exactly a match for what I'm looking for, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just trying to overcomplicate it as far as what to post on those pages.
Right. And then once somebody leaves their name and their email address, then you start engaging in a dialogue with them.
Right.
And you've got the opportunity to always lead to the next step kind of thing,
Sure.
Whether that's, watch a video or, do you have a sort of approach to counseling that would be a outlineable kind of thing? Like, Homer basically his mindset was, there are five basic things that you need to do, and it's that simple, really, as they were. But they're like so against what the natural inclination is when you're trying to win someone back, is right. Immediately you're constantly saying, but I love you and I'll change. And, what about the kids? And you're always trying to argue for your way, which is what that is, right? You're just wrapping it up in a nice wrapper, but you're really arguing for your way. And so he's saying to, instantly and happily agree with whatever your mate is saying, and to stop arguing for your way, and to and it's amazing how the things go, is to stop initiating contact with them in a pursuit kind of way, and it's just literally, it's magical what happens when you embrace these things,
Love it.
And and he has a whole psychology behind it, but it's something. It's
sure.
I've never seen anything like it. I got to record some audio programs with Homer, and this guy was like a genius. Just the lessons in psychology of how that all came about. Here's a guy who spent his entire life doing nothing but saving marriages, and so he got to see the dynamics of it at work.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good. Yeah. So what I would do is maybe talk with our therapist actually, and just have them help me kind of spitball and brainstorm what that would look like. If we were to come up with a certain number of steps to say, okay, these are some immediate things. It's good.
Yeah, because and that way, then you've got, that becomes the basis for either a 6-week or a 12-week program. But I would sort of get out of the defaulting to one session.
Gotcha. Stop talking about it
session by session. Yeah, you're setting it as because if it's worth $100, it's worth $600 for a 6-week program.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And that way, that gives you the opportunity, to build a list of people that you can communicate with. Now, the other thing is, tell me about the teen side.
So teen counseling. We've got kind of on our website. We've got a list of is your teen struggling at school, at home, with friends? Are they sad and unhappy, nervous or anxious, yelling at people? Are they getting into arguments or fights? Are they losing interest in things? Are they failing in school? Those kind of questions are asked there.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's really working with those teenagers on improving their behavioral stuff, improving emotional, stuff, communicating, making school a priority, those types of things, rule breaking or following, those kind of things. And really we're doing a lot of the same stuff for teens as we are couples. And that just, revolves around Google ads and some, blog posts that, are helping with Google organic rankings. We've got a teen counseling page that, our ads lead to. We don't have any kind of lead like a magnet or anything, or an offer, I guess, on our site for that.
See, if you open yourself to a national market where you're going to do things on a wider scale, then you can niche yourself more specifically to the higher stakes things, right? Like you could have, eating disorder kind of counseling,
right?
Or cutting, or things, that
very
seems
specific.
where, the things that are quite alarming for parents, right? That they want to, not just like rebellious, depressed teen, angst sort of
normal
stuff.
Sort of struggles.
Right, exactly. As opposed to things that have, not to downplay it anyway, the regular teen angst, but
sure.
I mean this elevated stuff that's that really requires professional intervention, and that becomes a thing where if you can almost counsel the parents in addition to the teens, right? Because the parents are the ones who really are the most motivated for this.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Often we end up sort of doing that alongside the teen, where our therapists are meeting with the parents a little bit every time they come in as well.
Right. Exactly. And so you start to think now, if you're geographically going to untether yourself, then you have an opportunity to be very specific in the target audiences, the niches that you're able to serve. And you've heard me I always point out an example of the photographer in the UK that has WeShootBottles.com as their website.
I've seen that.
Yeah. And then they have a sister website called We Shoot Cans. And that's the equivalent of, what to do when your child is cutting themselves is a category, right? That's a real thing. And I was amazed at how big a thing that actually is. And how they even learn that collectively, like where would they even learn to do that? But it's, apparently it's a big thing. And the, eating disorder behavior is a big thing. So if you can like squarely look at the big challenges and proactively look to creating the most effective program for that, solution for that.
Sure.
There's so much opportunity there,
Makes sense. Yeah. I love that. And I love to kind of look at, what interests our therapists have, primarily around those topics, and then go, okay, let's focus in and really niche in on a specific market that we could try to capture a lot of.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that could be a cool. I mean, that's you've got the world's your oyster right now. You could right there from Fort Worth. You can be a lighthouse beaming to the world for all of these.
I love it.
All these problems. You got Cloudlandia gives you. There's no borders in Cloudlandia.
Right.
20-minute drive. Forget about it. 20-second hookup. That's all you need.
Right. Exactly. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it. I think our therapists are going to be so accustomed to teletherapy by the time this is all over that we'll just probably
everybody's going to be. Everybody's
have to shut down our offices. We have to give up
why
our
wouldn't you?
offices, which will cut our budget a lot, which would be nice.
Of course it will.
Expensive.
Yeah. And that's awesome, right? Like that's really the thing that's, and it's an intimate environment, and there's a little bit of an intimacy, there's a little bit of a comfort layer there too in, being on Zoom or on Skype or whatever mechanism you choose. But I think it's the way these things are going. No need to. Why would anybody drive 20 minutes to sit and talk to someone? Right. When they could in 20 seconds do it. Plus, I think people would be more inclined to do it. All you have to do is just
It takes away some of the barrier to making the decision, because it's like, oh well, I don't know if I have time to drive all the way over there. I don't know if I have time in between work or school or whatever.
Right.
But it does take the barrier away, because they could do it. They could do it while sitting, outside, on the playground kind of thing. Almost like sitting in their car waiting to pick their kid up from school. They could do a session.
Yeah.
Especially around here where those lines are really long, because there's a lot of schools and a lot of kids.
Absolutely. So what's your takeaway summary here?
Yeah, so I think there's some possibilities in looking at doing 6, 8, or 12-week kind of programs, kind of reframing it from once a week or one-time scheduling to sort of mentally reframe that to hey, we're offering a 6, 8, 12 or whatever week sort of program for marriage or for your teen or whatever, so that it hopefully increases our average number of sessions. I need to figure out Google Ads retargeting for all those people that do make it to our pages.
Yeah.
And I think I could do that just with Google on the line. And then let's see.
Think about I just had a thought about how it could change the dynamic of sessions too, where rather than it being once a week because you've got to physically come there, it could change the dynamic that you could do twice in one night, where you could have somebody come at 6:30 for 30 minutes, and then you assign them something to talk out or to go do an exercise, and then we'll meet back here at 8:30 and we'll talk it through. That now you're amplifying the effectiveness of sessions, right? It's a whole new way. You got a whole new way of being able to deliver stuff that's not constrained by, having to do 1 hour once a week because of the physical, friction to get together.
Well, I like that. And I actually have heard of some therapists that offer sort of a marriage workshop where it's, over a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, all day. Where
That's what I mean.
You knock out the equivalent of 10 sessions in 2 days.
Yeah.
But going along the same lines of what you were just saying, to where you could just have an immediate exercise and an immediate, here's what we're going to deal with today. Let's go do something and then come back and talk about it. I love that. That's cool.
Well, that's what I would encourage you to just unbridle the creativity like that of what could do without any physical limitations, Yeah. I
need to look at trying to figure out, do they book after one visit to our website or multiple? That may be just something that we can add to our intake to say, have you visited, how many times have you visited our website? And then have bubbles where they could, or when's the first time you visited our website might be a good idea to say, today, or within the last week, within the last, it's been over 1 week, or it's been over 1 month, that kind of thing. Yeah. That way it gives us some idea of how quick that turnaround would be, perhaps.
Yeah. And you'd be able to do that with the opt-ins. You'd be able to have a sense of it too.
Oh yeah, that's true. That way we can look at that opt-in and have, okay, this is when we got them on the docket. Versus when they booked. And then also, have we tried to double or increase the budget? What would it look like to ramp it up, and would the numbers continue to climb? Adding some sort of PDF 2020 kind of programs and pricing guide onto each service page on our website, so that we're collecting some of that opt-in stuff, other than just the calls that we're getting. And then talking with my therapist about an approach to counseling that can be sort of outlined in steps that might be an additional kind of opt-in or something like that we could give away. And then, just looking at very specific target audiences.
Yeah.
I also had thought about some stuff yesterday. I love your guide that I was able to kind of walk through and answer questions for them, because it made me think. And so yesterday I was able to, kind of think of some stuff like, follow-up emails after their initial sessions. We haven't been doing that, but that might be an interesting way to just, because we do have people that come for one session and then they either don't reschedule then, or they reschedule, but then they end up canceling it for some reason, and then they sort of just fall away. And so looking at sending a follow-up email after the initial session, and then maybe after every so many sessions or something might be interesting. That way we could just touch base with them and say, hey, still here for you, that kind of thing. A pre-session email answering, any of the questions that they may have about what's counseling going to look like. We've actually written some blog posts around that. And so I could really just cut and paste some of that information and send them sort of a pre-session, maybe the day before their session, to say, hey, here's some questions you might have, and here's some answers. I love it. Trying to think anything else that I had thought of, and see what you think.
I love it. No, you're on the right track.
We thought about some kind of graduation experience as far as like when you finish couples counseling. Like if you do your 10 sessions and you feel like, okay, we're ready to go out on our own and do this on our own, kind of like working with other businesses, maybe restaurants in the area to donate gift cards or something, so that we could say, hey, have a date night on us, congratulations.
Right. Very nice.
That might be kind of a way to, I think I looked at your sort of your level 5 and 6 around creating like a great experience for people. Yes. So kind of having that graduation experience that hopefully gets them to talk about us to their friends. One thing we can't do as therapists directly is ask our clients for referrals. So that's been one thing that's been difficult. But if we can create sort of an experience that then they go talk about, that might be an end around instead of actually asking.
What do you mean you can't ask for referrals?
So there are ethical standards for counselors. So like the American Counseling Association and different state licensure boards. That make it to where even on our website, we can't have something that says, if you enjoyed our services, please refer us to your friends. Or even, in person, we're not even supposed to specifically ask for referrals. So we're not supposed to say, hey, if you enjoyed this session or whatever, or if you guys hear of anybody else that might know about or might need counseling, then send them our way. We're not supposed to do that.
That's interesting.
So it's kind of interesting. And the same thing with like customer testimonials. We're not supposed to ask for those. Like if somebody just outright says something like, oh, I've really enjoyed this has been great, we could say, hey, can we use that without your name attached? But we're technically not supposed to ask, which is it's a little debilitating for a service business.
Could they give out somebody? Could they give somebody your book? Certainly, you could do that.
Yeah, I think so. I think you could provide them with a book, or you could send it as a PDF, and then of course they could forward it along. that kind of thing. But to specifically ask them to do that would be sort of a no-no as far as
interesting.
a lot of the
there you go.
boards and stuff, which, some of that's interesting.
Love it.
Awesome.
Man, I really enjoyed that. That went fast.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was good. And I'm constantly listening to your stuff and keeping up with everything you guys are doing. And man, I appreciate it. I've been able to send your info over actually to a few real estate agents that I know. And so hopefully they get something good out of it as well.
Well, you keep doing that. I'm allowed to ask for referrals. That's so great. I encourage you.
Right. Love it.
Thanks, Craig. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And there we have it. Another great episode. Thanks for listening in. If you want to continue the conversation, we'll go deeper in how the 8 profit activators can apply to your business. 2 things you can do. Right now, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com and you can download a copy of the More Cheese Less Whiskers book. And you can listen to the back episodes, of course, if you're just listening here on iTunes. Secondly, the thing that we talk about in applying all of the 8 profit activators are part of the breakthrough DNA process. And you can download a book and a scorecard and watch a video all about the 8 profit activators at breakthroughdna.com. And that's a great place to start the journey in applying this scientific approach to growing your business. That's really the way we think about Breakthrough DNA as an operating system that you can overlay on your existing business and immediately look for insights there. So that's it for this week. Have a great week, and we will be back next time with another episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers.